Today is George Lucas's birthday, and today is May 14, and it's the year now is 2025, and George Lucas is today turns 81. And let me tell you something. George Lucas is an absolute legend that goes beyond even repeating. I don't even need to say that. But he is a great person in the sense of the gifts that he has brought to us and the way that he has shared those gifts with us. Yeah, he never, when he created his movies, let's say the ones we know about mostly, Star Wars, Indiana Jones. Oh, let's even go to American Graffiti. Genres. And this would be the genre of, let's say, avant-garde storytelling, but with a human emotion. Families. And if you look at American Graffiti, it is a movie about the changing of the season. And also it's from the point of view and how it affects these people living in a small community. Somewhat homegrown community, if you will. And then the conflicts when people have to leave the nest. And they struggle with their own family's decisions and their own place in their family line. And in our society and in their society in which they live. And George Lucas, if I might be so familiar with his name there and call him George, first name, he is a way of taking the story of the human condition, and that is of prejudice, of passion, of preference, of pride, and create a world like American Graffiti, where I was 100% invested in every single character on the screen at all times. So he paints this picture of a world so graphically does he, where it stands out, and you can see it, you can feel it, you can taste it. Especially if you go and see it where it was meant to be seen and how it was meant to be seen in the theaters. Yeah, and I'm not talking about 4DX. But I saw American Graffiti when I was first a kid. Probably, I might have seen it at the drive-in. I don't know. Maybe. But I do remember seeing it on TV with my family. Sometime in around, I don't know, maybe 1974 or 75, maybe 77. Man, it was great. I loved it. As a kid, this is what I say about it. As a kid, I loved it. And I still love it. And most people, if they go to see a movie that they like, they'll either want to go tell someone about it, or they will go back and see it themselves. Well, in the case of American Graffiti, now listen, when I saw American Graffiti, I was not old enough to even go to the next showing of it, or even go. There was no online, so I didn't go online. This was back in the 70s, 1970s. I couldn't just go online and tell people how I felt about this movie, what I thought, blah blah blah, and everybody's gonna know I'm an influencer. No, that didn't happen. But I knew what I liked. I liked the music, I liked the personalities, I liked the cars. And then, upon later, discovering Star Wars, I later learned, it hit me, I realized, Han Solo is the same guy from American Graffiti. And of course that was Han Solo, Harrison Ford. But I just knew him as Han Solo. So, how this is going to play out eventually for the good or the bad of theater, as George, movies, I'm talking movies, as George has another birthday. And you know, and I say this with all respect, George is not getting any younger. I don't expect him to be making more movies, more Star Wars movies. And that's the reason why he sold Star Wars to Disneyland, if you will. The Disneyland Corporation, the Disney Corporation, whatever it is. Or as he put it, well, I'm not going to tell you as he put it. You look it up. He will tell you as he put it. Look it up what George Lucas said about who he sold the Star Wars to. His children. He said it was like selling his children to the white slavers. Look, man, I'm quoting him. I didn't say it. He said it. He said, look, and I'm only going to say what he said. He said, you know, it's like selling your children to the white slavers. It's like you sold your children to white slavers. Man, you know, I mean, hey, I didn't say that. George said it. George is the key to all of this, man. He's the key to this whole thing. Now listen, George is the key to this whole thing. If you want, now listen, and again, you want to see what you want to see inside of a man's soul, just take a look at, first of all, just take a look at the picture right after he signed that paper, signing it on over to Mr. Igerland or Disneyland or whoever he was, Mr. Disneyland. And that was one. You see into his soul. Yeah. And then the other one is, take a look at that movie. Oh, I don't know, it's a little movie called, based on a little book called Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Yeah. Written and directed by George Lucas, as you may recall. Producer Rick McCollum. And executive producer George Lucas. An all-time epic masterpiece. Yeah. And now, speaking of an all-time epic masterpiece, happy birthday to George Lucas today. Turning 81 years old today, 2025, May the 14th. And George Lucas today turns 81. And we want to celebrate him. I am celebrating him, and I am here to say, along with all of my friends, along with you, listening now, tuning in, from around the globe, to all of our viewers and listeners from around the globe, thank the Maker. Let us join in together and thank the Maker for providing unto us this beautiful world that we share, in which we all live. Thank the Maker. And friends, that's it. That's all the time we have for today. I just want to wish George Lucas a happy birthday. I want to tell George out there, that all the people out there, that George has been an inspiration to me since the age of 10 years old. And even before then, as I said, when I first watched American Graffiti and I didn't know it. American Graffiti is one of those movies that once you know George, you know what the movie's about. You see it, you feel it. It's the heart in that movie. And that's why, if you want to see the heart of George Lucas, watch American Graffiti. Watch Red Tails. Hey man, that's another great movie. It's a great kids movie. Not very accurate in terms of war. It's not a great war movie, like WAR, war movie. It's not a great war movie. But it's one of the great kids movies about wartime activities, and as men, for men, about men who fought in that war to give us all another chance in life, a better world. And these were the Tuskegee Airmen, the Red Tails. And George Lucas produced Red Tails. It's a great movie, and most likely he even directed a couple of scenes. Did some writing probably, and also heavy consulting. And I heavily consulted on that, I guarantee it. But George is the key to all this thing. Lucas is the key. Lucas is the key, friends. He's the key to this whole thing. And oh, by the way, speaking of masterpiece, Jar Jar Binks, as portrayed by Ahmed Best, deserves an Oscar. Also, Jake Lloyd deserves an Oscar for his portrayal of Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Written and directed by George Lucas. Producer Rick McCallum. Executive producer George Lucas. An all-time epic masterpiece. That's right, I said it, and I will say it again. Jake Lloyd, listen to me, I'm going to say this again. Jake, and listen, Patton Oswalt, if you're listening to me. Man, that guy's a weirdo. Patton Oswalt is an all-time weirdo, or Oswald Patton, or whatever his name is. Or Poswald, or Potwat, Paswald, or whatever his name is, man. I don't care. This guy's a weirdo, and look, it's not personal. Yeah, it is personal, I guess, maybe. It's a little personal. This guy, man, he's out there telling jokes. Let's tell you what this kind of joke this guy told, man. You tell me if you think this is funny. He says, oh, sometime back in around 2007, I think he said this, told this joke. He says, well, you know, if I had a shovel, or rather if I had a time machine, I'd go back in time and I would kill George Lucas with a shovel. Yeah, I would kill George Lucas with a shovel to keep him from making the prequels. Yeah. And then he says, effing pathetic. And then he goes on to trash. Now, look, I'm talking about Poswald Pattenwald, or Patwald Posen, or Posen Oswalt, or Poswald Pottaz, or whatever his name is, man. This guy's an all-time weirdo. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. Patton Oswalt, man, this guy. Okay, fine. You didn't like the movie. You didn't think the movie was the way it was made was good. And so you want to go back in time and you want to kill this wonderful man, this wonderful person, this beautiful person that has given us this beautiful universe. And you want to kill this man with a shovel. Man, that's just weird. And if you think that's funny, you are an all-time weirdo. Yeah. If you think that's funny, then you're a weirdo. And if you don't think it's funny, then don't worry about it. I'm not talking to you, and I'm not talking about you. But if that's what you want to, if that's how you want to see it, that's fine. I don't want to see it that way. That's not how I see it. Because I don't want to go back in time and kill George Lucas with a shovel. I don't want to go back in time and kill anybody with a shovel. And if you're going to go back in time and kill anybody with a shovel, why has it got to be George Lucas? Why? Weirdo. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Patton Oswalt. You're a weirdo. And I know your name, and I know what the joke is you told, and it's not funny. Yeah, talking to you. Okay, now, that's it. Don't be a weirdo. I heard you laugh, man. Everybody was laughing at it. And then he went on TV later, and he's going on and on about the prequels. How great the other movies, the sequels, the Disneyland sequels. Come on, you know as well as I know, there has been no awakening. There has literally been no awakening. There's been no awakening, friends. And Patton Oswalt is a weirdo. And the prequels is the best Star Wars that there is. And there has been no awakening. And The Force Awakens, while I acknowledge that J.J. Abrams is a competent director, is a good director, and sometimes a great director for certain projects. Hey, he does it better than I do. I've never directed a full-length movie like that for Hollywood. I've directed my own movies, a little shorter on time, shorter on budget. But, you know, I wouldn't say that I could play with the big boys like J.J. Abrams, but neither would I say that there's been any awakening. Because there has been no awakening, friends. There's been no awakening. You know it and I know it. And that's just it. That's all there is to it. And The Force Awakens, man, This is what I think about The Force Awakens as a Star Wars movie. As a Star Wars movie. As a Star Wars movie. This is The Force Awakens as a Star Wars movie. Now this is The Force Awakens as a movie. Hey, if you like that kind of a movie, great. But if you like Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, there has literally been no awakening. There has literally been no awakening. The Phantom Menace, no. Last Jedi, no. Rise of Skywalker, no. This has not been an awakening. Now maybe Rogue One, I'll give you, that's not an awakening. That's just like fan movies. But it's still more along the lines of Star Wars than Force Awakens, Return of the Jedi, or rather Freudian slip. Some people say Return of the Jedi is one of the worst Star Wars movies ever. I disagree. I just think it's possibly the weakest of the original trilogy and needs a little more work in it. But man, that throne room fight at the end is the best. Okay, that's it, friends. That's all the time I have for today. Until we meet again, friends, I'll leave you with these wise words from the wise and powerful Jedi, Qui-Gon Jinn. Remember, your focus determines your reality. And may the Force be with us.